coming to you live from Georgetown, Guyana. Here are the major headlines for today. Williams and Nandlal clash over case seeking cabinet's resignation. Gao says government should be blamed for state of sugar industry. Fowles man commits suicide, reportedly forces wife and child. Government commissions 2 new schools in Region 7. And RCC hosts workshop in observance of World Literacy Day. The Guyana Post Office Corporation GPOC is warning the public of a social media scam being circulated by unknown individuals or entities. In a statement today, the corporation said it does not have any promotion on WhatsApp, Instagram, Gmail, Facebook, or any other social media platforms. As such, the GPOC said it is not requesting payment of any kind or any sort of fees via these mediums, nor has it authorized anyone to collect monies in return for a competition prize. The corporation added that it is a criminal action and they will take legal action once persons are found culpable. The entity is urging persons to contact the GPOC via its listed telephone numbers, email at pro@guypost.gy or Facebook at Guyana Post Office Corporation if they receive any suspicious offer. Former Attorney General Anil Nandlal and his predecessor, Attorney General Basil Williams, today butted heads as the case of Nandlal's application, which is seeking an order for cabinet and government to resign, was called today before Chief Justice Roxanne George in the High Court. The details in this report.
The case was called before Chief Justice Roxanne George at the Georgetown High Court earlier today. Nandlal moved to the courts, filing an order compelling the Granger-led coalition government and cabinet to resign since the successful passage of the no-confidence motion on December 21, 2018. Nandlal is also seeking a conservatory order restraining government and cabinet from meeting, making decisions, or performing the functions of the cabinet in accordance with and pursuant to Article 106(6) of the Constitution of Guyana. During the hearing, the AG told the Chief Justice that Nandlal's order was merely an abuse of process. Commenting on the statements made, Nandlal told the reporters that the comment was an atrocious contention.
To get a government to obey the clear language of the Constitution. It is unfortunate that the citizens of this country have to resort to this kind of extreme in getting a government simply to comply with the Constitution.
Nandlal stated that a court order is the last resort of the opposition for government to remove itself from office.
And this is the level to which we have descended. And rather than the Attorney General come here and concede as the principal legal advisor under the Constitution of the government of Guyana, he comes here and says that it is an abusive process. It's an atrocious contention. He should be coming here asking the court apology and going back to get his cabinet to resign in compliance with the Constitution. He comes here with a straight face and says that we are trying to abuse the process of the court, whereas all we are trying to do is to get constitutional compliance, which is the law of the land.
Meanwhile, the Attorney General stood firm on his comments, stating that it is merely the same arguments being repeated.
The CCJ rejected it, clearly said that the government remains in a different mode, an interim government and all that. So it's a waste of the court's time, the court's resources.
Both parties will return to court on September 30 after completing their submissions. For Globespan 24x7 News, Shakima Day.
Thanks, Shakima. Komal Chan, head of the Ghana Agricultural and General Workers Union GAWU, says that the coalition government has to take full responsibility for the current state of Ghana's sugar industry, which is showing constant decline ever since the closing of several major estates. More again from Shakima Day.
In an interview with this newscast, Chan stated that the Granger-led coalition government should own up to their actions for placing Guyana's sugar industry in the current state it's in. According to Chan, government has been failing to improve the efficiency and output of the sugar estates in Guyana.
What we know, very little is done. No major work is done to put these estates in a proper functional position. What they are doing are mere remedying some minor issues, but some big issues they are not paying attention to.
The Gahu head stressed that because the underlying issues of the industry are not being addressed, the remaining sugar estates are underperforming.
And that is where we have the problem. That is why we see production in the 3 estates that they have operational. The production is falling every year, far from reaching the 140 target. It's not ascending year after year, since they promised that they will move into the production of 140,000 tons from these 3 estates.
He noted that the production of the estates have declined for the past 2 years. If this trend continues, Jan said, Guyana will no longer have a sugar industry.
If it continues and it is not arrested, to put back these estates, to produce according to its capacity, its factory output, the workforce you have, then you could very well have a situation where they will say that, look, these estates are not doing well and we have to close them.
The sugar industry in Guyana was once referred to as the country's backbone until the coalition government announced the closure of 4 of the main estates. The remaining estates were scheduled for privatization, but to date, this plan is at a standstill. Plans are now afoot to convert the estates into a sugar museum and heritage park. For Globespan 24x7 News, Shakima Day.
Following the disclosure by the power company last week, the Guyana Power and Light that it intends to purchase power from businesses and private companies as a means to reduce blackouts countrywide, GPL in a statement at the weekend revealed that the company may not be able to proceed with this plan. Here's more.
In a public notice signed by Minister of Public Infrastructure David Patterson over the weekend, the minister noted that the present license under which the power company operates restricts the company from purchasing power from any person other than an independent power producer, or IPP, which produces power from renewable energy sources. IPP is defined under the Electricity Sector Reform Act of 1999, does not include businesses whose main business is not the generation of power and which supplies no more than 10 megawatts. According to Patterson, although much interest has been expressed by companies, namely the Giftland Mall and Banks IH Limited, Section 15 of GPL's operating license prohibits the company from entering such agreements. To this end, Minister Patterson revealed that government plans to make amendments to the Act to allow for large and small-scale businesses to generate power for GPL. Both the Giftland Mall and Banks IH are powering their operations with the use of heavy fuel oil and have both acquired substantial generating capacity in this regard. With this in mind, it was noted that Patterson has proposed an amendment to Section 15 of GPL's license, which will allow the company to purchase the excess generation capacity of its consumers, self-generators, and other businesses, where feasible and consistent with the company's generation requirements for interconnection to its grid. Giftland Mall offered to sell government its excess electricity back in 2016, but this was rejected. However, in a recent press release by the power company, it noted that its board of directors had given clearance to enter into a power purchase agreement with the Giftland Mall. That release had stated that GPL has been directed by its board to ensure the necessary legal and regulatory modalities were satisfied in conjunction with inviting potential power providers to submit expressions of interest. For Globespan 24x7 News, this is Kingsley Bryan.
Thanks, Kingsley. Cabinet recently gave its no objection to the approval of several contracts for solar systems. Approval was given for Gafsons Industries Limited to supply, install, and commission of grid-connected and hybrid solar photovoltaic PV systems in regions 8 and 10, totaling $46 million. Under the Hinterland Electrification Company, $159 million was also approved by the cabinet for the design, supply, and installation of solar PV microgrid systems. These works will be conducted in 4 lots. Farfan and Mendes will handle works for lots 1 and 2, and while Gaffurs Industries has the remaining lots. Government said this is in keeping with the Green State Development Strategy Vision 2040. Guyana joined 6 fellow Amazonian countries on Sunday in Colombia to sign a pact to protect the world's largest tropical forest. The pact, signed at a time when the Amazon is under threat from fires, aims to coordinate disaster response and satellite monitoring. More in this report.
Minister of Natural Resources Rafael Trotman, who represented President David Granger, signed on behalf of Guyana. Minister Trotman, in delivering a message on behalf of President Granger, reiterated to the South American leaders that our president is the visionary who conceptualized the Green State Development Strategy for Guyana. It is our lighted path towards attaining a green and sustainable economy and is open to be shared and improved upon. An inferno in the Amazon, 2/3 of which is in Brazil, and the reason for us being here, threatens the rainforest ecosystem and also affects the entire globe, Minister Trotman related. The effects of damage to the Amazon go far beyond Brazil and its neighbors. We are the lungs of the earth. We all must breathe to live. Therefore, our presence here is in recognition of the value and importance of the Amazon and the Guyana Shield, and our role as custodians, stewards, and guardians of it, Minister Trotman stated. The Amazon is the world's largest rainforest, which produces approximately 20% of Earth's oxygen and spans 8 countries, including Guyana. It covers 40% of South America, is inhabited by 30 million people, and is home to vast numbers of mammals, birds, amphibians, and reptiles, most of them unique to the region. New plant or animal species are discovered at a rate of 1 every 2 days in the Amazon. Colombia's President Ivan Duque, Bolivia's President Evo Morales, Ecuador's President Lenin Moreno, and Peru's President Martin Vizcarra were the heads of state who signed. Suriname's Vice President Michael Ashwin Adin and Brazil's Foreign Minister Ernesto Arguro signed the pact on behalf of their respective countries. For Globespan 24x7 News, Shakima Day.
Thanks, Shakima. We'll take a short break. Do stay with us.
We would like to ask all of our faithful viewers to kindly like and follow Globespan 24x7 Facebook page and subscribe to Globespan 24x7 YouTube channel to receive up-to-date notifications of when we are live. Globespan 24x7 has vacancies for full-time positions such as reporters, newscasters, and news editors. Persons serious about joining a new and dynamic news team are asked to send their application to careers@globespantechnology.com.
This newscast is brought to you with the kind compliments of Travelspan GT, with locations in Georgetown and Berbice. For all your travel needs, call Travelspan GT at 327-1701, located at Lot 3A North Road in Georgetown, between Camp and Wellington Street. In Rose Hall, call 337-4287, and in New Amsterdam, call 333-6230. Call Travelspan today.
Thanks for staying with us. A 57-year-old taxi driver of Fowles on the east coast of Demerara took his own life this morning after allegedly forcing his young child and her mother to ingest a poisonous substance. Although an official report was not issued and the actual cause of death remains unknown, police suspect the now dead man may have ingested poison. The man was identified as Balkaran Prasad, and he was pronounced dead on arrival at the hospital. Reports indicate that an alarm was raised by Prasad's estranged wife, causing neighbors to rush to the scene. It has been reported that neighbors upon arrival saw the woman in the yard, while Prasad and the young child were inside the house, all showing signs of poisoning. From all observations, Prasad may have forced the woman and the child to drink the poison before taking some of it himself. This theory, provided by neighbors, stemmed from the fact that Prasad and the woman were now separated, and she lived a short distance away. Up to press time, persons at the scene were unclear as to what caused this morning's tragic incident. Globespan 24x7 will bring you more details in an updated story. Government recently commissioned 2 new schools in the Upper Mazaruni district in Region 7, Kayuni Mazaruni, with the aim of improving access to education for indigenous communities. These schools will benefit hundreds of children in various communities in that region. Here's that report.
A new school was commissioned in Camarang, which will cater for almost 170 students at a tune of $30 million, while another at Purima, which is 90% complete, will cost $27.7 million. Addressing the ceremony was Education Minister Nicolette Henry, who said that the government, through the Ministry of Education, aims to provide equal educational opportunities to all Guyanese.
Therefore, schools are being built both in the coastland as well as in the hinterland. This, of course, is no easy task, but the wheel would have already been set in motion. And today we are gathered to witness the commissioning of yet another school in the hinterland. And this school is none other than Camarang Primary School.
She also expressed her confidence that the effort being put into eliminating the gaps between hinterland and coast will continue to produce increased student performance from hinterland regions as seen in the last few years. Urging parents, teachers and students to maintain the newly constructed structure at Camarang, Minister of State Don Hastings Williams noted that the building was comfortable and conducive to learning.
I just want to remark saying that education is very, very important. And because of that, our government had budgeted billions of dollars towards the education sector. We also saw an increase in our regional budget towards the education sector. And so you have a spanking new building today, something to be proud of.
Regional Chairman Gordon Bradford spoke to the commitment of several stakeholders to ensure that development is set in motion.
Because what is happening in Camarang today will be happening also in Mbaimadai, in Kako, in Purima this afternoon. Again, we're going to be commissioning another school similar to this one. And most importantly, in a primary school just like this one, for the first time in the history of our country, in Iterengbang, where there's no school.
For Globespan 24x7 News, Abel Harris.
Thanks, Abel. As Guyana joins the rest of the world in celebrating International Day of Indigenous People, we feature a young, outstanding Indigenous female from the Patara Super Rudi region who has a promising future in law. She speaks of her experience as an Indigenous youth and offers some advice to her fellow Indigenous brothers and sisters. Here's that special report. Very often, young Indigenous men and women who leave their villages to come to the coastal regions in search of better opportunities either forget or neglect their culture just to fit in with society. But for 23-year-old Paula Gomes, who hails from the remote Indigenous village of Paramakatoy in Region 8, said this should not be the case. Paula believes that everyone, regardless of their age or ethnicity, should embrace their culture and never forget where they came from. From humble upbringings, Paula grew up in a nuclear family and enjoyed her childhood in Paramakatoy with her sisters and brothers. Paula describes her village as very traditional.
Long-standing Indigenous cultural practices are the norm. For instance, everybody speaks the Patamuna language. Our diet and other general lifestyle can be traced back, our general lifestyle can be linked directly to the practice of our ancestors.
Paula completed primary education in her village and topped her region, gaining a place at President's College. With the support of her parents, she started her secondary education. She said her experience there was difficult at first, and it took her a while to adapt to the new environment.
As I said, I did 2 years of CAPE there. That was pretty successful. In fact, I gained a spot among the top 10 performers in Region 4. figuring out what I should do with my future, trying to decide on a career, I decided to go into journalism.
During her short stint at a private media company, Paula received a full scholarship to attend the University of Ghana, where she is now in her second year reading for a law degree. Paula now works as a paralegal at the prominent law firm Hughes, Fields and Stobie. After studies at UG, Paula hopes to continue at the U Wooden Law School to read for her legal education certificate. While Paula has had a lot of successes on her side, she told us that she was discriminated against as an indigenous person. Despite this young Patamona woman said that it has never caused her to give up or doubt her potential to do well.
Be proud of who you are. That's what you are. As much as you try, you cannot, because that's where you came from. That's your origin. And I think that they should embrace it. It's something that you should be ashamed of.
While she recognizes that there have been improvements in many indigenous villages, Paula, like many other indigenous people, feels that there should be more focus placed on improving the livelihoods of Ghana's First People.
As indigenous peoples, as someone had mentioned a while back, one of the most underserved and underprivileged group in Guyana. I think that so much more can be done by the government. For example, the health sector can be improved. More opportunities, employment opportunities can be created. And that persons complete high school and didn't do well in school, it's just that opportunities are not available to them.
For Globespan 24x7 News, I'm Samuel Sipnandan. A workshop was hosted today by the Rights of the Child Commission to observe World Literacy Day, and with special focus on the importance of reading and writing. More in this report.
On September 8th, every year, countries celebrate World Literacy Day since its introduction on this very day back in 1966. Since its declaration, a number of activities are held to raise awareness and to remind persons of the importance of literacy as a matter of dignity and human rights. With that in mind, the Rights of the Child Commission in Guyana hosted a workshop today at the Grand Coastal Inn to add to this cause. Chairperson of the event, Shania Prasad, noted that literacy is more than the ability to read and write.
It's the ability to understand and internalize the information being said to you and use that information to broaden your knowledge base and to help others.
World Literacy Day 2019 is being celebrated under the theme, Literacy and Multilingualism. The day is celebrated with the aim of eradicating poverty, uncontrolled population growth, and gender equality, among others. Child's Rights Commissioner Nicole Cole, in her remarks, said the theme for this year's observances is very apt, given Guyana's own changing landscape.
It is important for us not only to be boxed in by one language, especially with a high influx of migration into our country, but we are having persons from different languages coming into our country. So it's important for you to know a foreign language.
PPP parliamentarian Dr. Vindhya Prasad noted that the world has a disparity when it comes to the way it records literacy.
But yet the world statistics show that men are outstripping women when it comes to being literate. So it leaves us in a conundrum. What is happening? I think what needs to happen is that more focus must be placed on making sure that our young people not only go to school, but stay in school.
Dr. Prasad stressed that there should be equal access to all opportunities education have to offer. She said, though in Guyana we are seeing a difference at the university, she urged the males of Guyana to step up. Also giving a few remarks was former Minister of Education and the Public Service, Dr. Rupert Rupnaraine, who expressed that literacy lays a foundation for development.
It is literacy that is the greatest enabler of the delivery and reception of education. Literacy, therefore, seems to be the very kernel of a civilized society and its continued development.
Dr. Rupnarayan also urged that all efforts be redoubled to combat illiteracy in the Guyana society. The workshop also saw the recitation of several poems by talented Guyanese youth and numerous charges to eradicate illiteracy and promote multilingualism. For Globespan 24x7 News, this is Kingsley Bryan.
Thanks, Kingsley. We'll now take a look at our bridge reports. We'll now take a short break. Do stay with us for regional and international news.
TravelSpan is pleased to announce special fares from New York to Guyana for Christmas. Seats are available to travel, and depending on which dates you choose, fares range from $8.49 to $11.69. These are limited block seats on American Airlines non-stop flight from JFK to Guyana. Call 718-845-0437. That's 718-845-0437. Or book online at travelspan.com. TravelSpan does have a payment plan, so travel plans, call TravelSpan.
Amro's Travel Service is pleased to support Globespan 24x7 broadcasts. We provide travel solutions via our 4 locations in Trinidad. Chaguanas at 665-3383, Valpa 645-1604, Port of Spain 625-0800, and San Fernando at 652-4789. Remember, when you travel, Amro's is the way to go.
Welcome back. You're watching Globespan 24x7 News. Now let's take a look at our regional and international news. The Canadian government said on Thursday that Prime Minister Justin Trudeau has discussed the onslaught of Hurricane Dorian on the Bahamas with the Caribbean community CARICOM chair and Prime Minister of St. Lucia Alan Chastanet. Open quote. The Prime Minister expressed his sympathy for the loss of life and for all those affected by the destruction caused by Hurricane Dorian, mentioning his call with Prime Minister Hubert Minnis of the Bahamas early in the day and Canada's offer of Canadian $500,000 in initial support and expertise to the disaster relief effort, and quote, said the Canadian government in a statement about the discussion with Chastanet. The Prime Minister has discussed the need for innovative solutions and greater resilience to address the devastating impacts of extreme weather events felt by the Caribbean and other small island developing states. It said Trudeau underscored Canada's ongoing commitment to building back better and support for the region, noting in particular Canada's 2017 pledge of Canadian $100 million for the Caribbean reconstruction and climate resilience. Open quote. The Prime Minister also discussed their desire for stability in the broader region and for a peaceful resolution to the crisis in Venezuela. End quote, the statement added. The Bahamas government has confirmed 30 deaths to date from the Category 5 hurricane. An earthquake with a magnitude of 4.2 rocked Trinidad and Tobago and Grenada this morning, but there were no reports of injuries or damage. The Trinidad-based Seismic Research Center of the University of the West Indies has said. It said that the quake, which occurred at 6 hours 45, was located at a depth of 84 kilometers. The quake was felt 102 kilometers northwest of Port of Spain, Trinidad and Tobago, and 119 kilometers southwest of St. George's in Grenada. The SRC said it was also felt 115 kilometers northeast of Venezuela. The 5-week suspension of the UK Parliament will begin later after MPs are expected to again reject government's calls for a snap election. Opposition MPs confirmed they would not back the push for an October 15 poll, insisting a law blocking a no-deal Brexit must be implemented first. Ministers have called the law lousy and said they would test to the limit what it required of them. British Prime Minister Boris Johnson has been warned he could face legal action for flouting it. At present, UK laws states that the country will leave the EU on October 31, regardless of whether a withdrawal deal has been agreed with Brussels or not. But the new legislation, which was granted royal assent on Monday, changes that and will force the PM to seek a delay to January 31, 2020, unless a deal or a no-deal exit is approved by MPs by October 19. We'll now take a look at sport with Kingsley Bryan.
Thanks, Samuel. As the CONCACAF Nations League tournament heats up, the Ghana Golden Jaguars will face the Jamaica Reggae Boys, hoping to gain another 3 points at the Lenore Track and Field facility on September 9. The last matchup between these two nation teams ended in an upset. This was after the Reggae Boys, after being down by 2 points, equalized the game and then claimed victory with a 2-point lead. On Sunday, during an interaction with the media, both teams expressed their confidence. The Ghana side noted that this is an opportunity for redemption after 4 consecutive match losses against the Jamaican side in the past when they met in the tourney. Meanwhile, the Jamaican noted that they look forward to playing a very competitive game against Guyana. The game between the two kicks off at 19 hours this evening. Also, the Caribbean Premier League has announced that ticket sales for the Ghana Amazon Warriors' final 2 home matches of the 2019 Hero CPL began on Monday, September 9, 2019 at 3 separate locations. Patrons are asked to avoid the last-minute rush and secure tickets from the CPL OPCO Ghana office located on Lot 238 Camp and Commonwealth Streets, Georgetown, 19 Princess Elizabeth Road, New Amsterdam, and at Imam Bakker's General Store at Affiance on the Essequibo Coast. Tickets will be on sale from 8 hours to 17 hours on weekdays and from 9 to 17 hours on Saturdays and 9 to 14 hours on Sunday. The ticket prices are as follows. For the green stand, 5,000 Ghana dollars. The red stand, 5,000 Ghana dollars. The orange stand, 3,000 Ghana dollars. The grass mound, $2,000. And internal parking, $1,500. These matches will be played at the Ghana National Stadium, Providence on Thursday, October 3. And that will be the Ghana Amazon Warriors versus the Jamaica Tallowers at 18 hours. And Friday, October 4. And that is the Ghana Amazon Warriors versus the Trinbago Knight Riders at 20 hours. Persons who require additional information are being urged to contact the CPL OPCO Ghana office on telephone numbers 231-5344 or 502-0488 or 502-0454. And internationally in the sporting arena, Spain's Rafael Nadal secured his 19th Grand Slam title after claiming his 4th US Open title in theatrical fashion, moving his way further up the Grand Slam ladder. The veteran Nadal was matched against debut Grand Slam finalist Daniil Medvedev of Russia in a highly competitive 4-hour, 50-minute thriller in New York. At the conclusion of the sets, the score was 7-5, 6-3, 5-7, 4-6, and 6-4. Nadal, during the trophy ceremony, remarked that the night was one of the most emotional nights of his career as a tennis player. In honor of his milestone achievement, a video was played at the Arthur Ashe Stadium. Nadal's latest win places him in the 2nd spot of the Grand Slam ladder, with just 1 Grand Slam win short behind Roger Federer, who tops the board with 20 Grand Slam titles. And that has brought us to the ending of sports for today's edition of Globespan 24x7 News. Join us tomorrow as we continue for more sport in action. I am Kingsley Bryan.
Thanks, Kingsley. And that has brought us to the end of today's news. Before we go, here's a recap of our major headlines. Williams-Nandla clash over case seeking cabinet's resignation. Gao says government should be blamed for state of sugar industry. Monrepo's man commits suicide, reportedly forces wife and child. Government commissions 2 new schools in Region 7. And RCC hosts workshop in observance of World Literacy Day. Thanks for watching Globespan 24x7 News. On behalf of myself, Samuel Suknandan, the news and technical team, until next time, do have a pleasant rest of the evening. Goodbye for now.